PCRFM, Kev with breakfast for Monday morning. So, the Glastonbury Weekender in Peterborough. It's a citywide celebration of music and culture happening June 27th to June 29th. Lots of different people involved in it. Organised by Peterborough Positive. I went along to their offices to speak to Terry and first Pep. And the initial question was, tell us all about it, because it builds, I guess, on last year's first event.
Yeah, last year was the first time we did it. We had a big screen on the back of St John's Church in Cathedral Square. This year the screen is coming back, but we're going to stick it in to Cathedral Square with some chairs for people to enjoy all the atmosphere. So in a nutshell, I'm not going to steal Terry's thunder, but what we're doing, as we do every year, we basically increase every event and make it bigger and better. And this time it's about basically involving the whole of the city centre, and it's not just about music as well.
Okay. Terry in a moment with some of the detail, but why are events that Peterborough Positive organise, why are they so important to the work that you as a bid do?
Yeah, our priorities are events, safety and security, and building a business community. So events is obviously important because it does two things. One, it kind of changes the perception of Peterborough. I think a lot of people still think, oh, nothing ever happens in Peterborough. Don't go there, and all this sort of stuff. So one of the things that we're very keen to do is change that perception. We're not going to do that overnight. Obviously, it takes several years, but we made a big dent in that. And also, it's obviously about increasing footfall. But for me, I always say this, it's my little narrative. It's more about kind of the dwell time for me. It's about getting people into the city centre, which is not massively difficult to do, but it's about keeping them here. And what we planned for Glastonbury this weekend will encourage people to stay in the city centre longer.
Okay, Terry, I've got the poster in front of me. It says the word free in the top left-hand corner. Peterborough Positive presenting this Glastonbury Weekender. So it ties in with, of course, the iconic Glastonbury Festival. What is going to be happening in Peterborough?
There is going to be lots of things happening in the city centre over that weekend, and it will kind of kick off with our big screen, which will be showing a live stream of Glastonbury from 2:00 on the Friday afternoon. As well as that, we also have on St John's Square a whole host of live performances on the Saturday and the Sunday, which will take in lots of up-and-coming artists and bands, youth groups. We've got Kindred Youth Theatre will be performing their show 6, which will be on at that weekend at the theatre as well. We'll have Morris dancers. We're going to have a bit of storytelling in Queensgate as well. So the idea is to kind of give that really rich experience that you probably would get if you were actually at Glastonbury, but right here in the city centre.
Yeah, who needs to get wet and have some crummy tent in some field in Worthy Farm? So you mentioned the live music element, you mentioned the big screen, Glastonbury performances, but it's so much more than that, isn't it? You touched on it there. There's art, there's storytelling, there's comedy. So who are some of the partners that you're working with?
So we've been really lucky to kind of work with a lot of our city centre businesses on this. So we'll be working with the museum, who have a really great exhibition which features some album art and some items from Sir Paul McCartney's personal collection, which is really great, and that's free entry over the weekend. We're also working with the Park Inn and also St John's Church to put on our comedy. So we're bringing 2 really great comedians to the city centre to come and perform in those venues. The Park Inn will be on the Saturday the 28th. Tickets are £6.50, but actually include a drink as part of that, so you get a bottle of beer or a glass of wine. And then the performance, which is a bit more family friendly, at St John's Church at 2:00 on the Sunday afternoon. So that's Sunday the 29th?
29th, yeah, Sunday.
29th,
yeah.
Yep, Sunday the 29th. That will be £2 per person, children free for that one, and the tickets will include a tea, coffee or a squash for the children's.
It all sounds great, and you're knitting together different businesses to sort of be part of this one whole Glastonbury Weekender, which I think is awesome. And we've not mentioned what's going on in the cloisters at the cathedral, because that, I guess, kicks it off.
Yeah, so that kicks it off on the Friday afternoon. So we've got an old school disco outside at the cloisters, which is amazing.
Love it.
It's going to be
people
brilliant.
can have a boogie under the stars on that Friday night.
Yeah. So we're really lucky to have those guys kicking off that weekend for us. We are hopefully going to have a performance as well on Cathedral Square that evening, just to add to the kind of live screen that we have from Glastonbury. More details of that will be released hopefully over the next couple of weeks.
Okay, and the final question, maybe it's the most important question about the Glastonbury Weekender. What's the food and drink offering at some of these sort of outdoor events?
So we're really lucky to be working with one of the providers who bring the markets to the city centre. So they're looking after all of the stalls. We have, I think it's something like 10 to 15 stalls that are looking to be part of this event. So we have a meeting next week to work out where they're all going to go. But the idea is to get as many different people and stalls involved in the event to give a really kind of wide mix of things for people to eat, drink and shop.
Yeah, and shop, of course, yeah, because I mean the whole point of all of this is bringing people into the city centre. Pep, back to you. I know that you also still write your famous column in the ESP magazine. People have been reading this for decades almost.
26 years now.
Man About Town by Pep Cipriano in ESP. You've got a column in one of the recent editions that says nothing ever happens in Peterborough ? Interesting headline. That tying in with what we've just been discussing, what comments would you have?
That's exactly it, Kevin. Thank you for pointing that out, because that's exactly it. I sort of went off on one in my column in the summer issue and just said, I'm just tired of people saying that. And one of the things that we do here is a bit, as I say, we act as that umbrella to work with all of our basically our venues to say, look, we know stuff's going on. Can we just tell us, and we will market that as part of our Peterborough Positive Glastonbury Weekender, and that's exactly what we've done. And as Terry said earlier on, one of the most important things to do when people are listening to this is just keep an eye on our socials, because things are changing every day. We're adding more and more events and performances on a daily basis, and obviously check out the website as well.
Okay, I mean, we've not even talked about the Peterborough Dragon Boat Festival that's happening, Peterborough Pride that's huge, the events for Armed Forces Day. Terry, there is a lot of stuff happening, but it's about joining it up and it's about shouting about it.
Absolutely. We have loads of events of our own that are coming up over the summer. We've got Peterborough Strongest, which is returning. We've got a family film as well on Cathedral Square like we did last year. So the great thing for us is to be able to work with city centre businesses when we put these events on, and also when there's wider events like Pride, to encourage everyone to get behind them. And it's just nice to see that these things are happening in the city centre, and it's encouraging more people to come in and experience all of the great things we have to offer here.
Terry, Pep, good to see you. Thank you.